Before we begin, close your eyes and visualize. Use your imagination and personal experiences. You don't need monkey brain visuals. You can do better. Now, back to the video. In 1997, something bizarre happened in San Diego, California. 39 people were found dead in a mansion, all dressed identically with the same eerie message left behind. We're leaving this world to reach the true reality. They were part of a group called Heaven's Gate, a cult that believed everything in this world was an illusion, just a test before reaching a higher existence. To them, everything around them, the news, history, even their own senses, was a fabricated lie designed to keep them trapped. It sounds insane, but then you realize this isn't the first time in history that people have questioned whether reality is real. Centuries before them, ancient Hindu texts spoke of Maya, the grand illusion that deceives mankind into mistaking the temporary for the eternal. But you don't need ancient philosophy or cults to tell you something is off. You felt it yourself. There are moments in life that feel scripted, coincidences that seem too perfect, patterns that repeat like a badly written simulation. A stranger finishing your sentence before you say it, a song playing on the radio right after you were thinking about it, a vivid memory of something happening only to be told it never did. It's easy to dismiss these as random flukes, but the deeper you go, the more unsettling it becomes. And this is where things take a turn. Because what if I told you that everything you know, your memories, your beliefs, your perception of reality, isn't as real as you think? Your memories, they can be rewritten. Your senses, they can be tricked. Your entire understanding of life, it might be an illusion. Science itself has already proven that reality bends based on how we observe it. In the famous double-slit experiment, physicists discovered that particles behave differently when they are observed, meaning the act of perception itself changes the physical world. Think about that for a second. If reality was as solid as we believe, why would it change simply because someone is looking? This means everything you experience, from the way the world looks to how time flows, isn't fixed. It's influenced, shaped, and even manipulated, not by some higher force, but by your own perception. So what happens when that perception isn't accurate? What if your entire life, everything you assume to be real, is just a highly convincing illusion, one designed to feel real, but carefully constructed to keep you from seeing what's truly there? The cracks are already showing now. Let's go deeper. Reality, we take it for granted. We trust our senses, our thoughts, and our memories to tell us what's real. But what if they're all lying to you? It's not just a wild theory. It's happening all the time. Take memories, for example. You think of them as solid records of the past, but in reality, they're more like fragile glass, easily distorted, reshaped, even rewritten. There's a psychological study called the Lost in the Mall experiment. In this experiment, researchers told people 4 stories from their childhood. 3 were real, but 1 was completely fake. A story about getting lost in a mall as a child. At first, most participants denied it ever happened, but after a few days, something terrifying occurred. They started remembering it. Not just vaguely, they described detail, the store they were near, the feeling of panic, even the relief of being found. But here's the thing, it never happened. Their minds had been tricked into believing a completely false memory, one that felt just as real as any true experience. So ask yourself, if memories can be manipulated this easily, how much of what you remember is even real? And this is just the beginning. Your entire perception of the world is filtered through your brain, which means it's highly unreliable. You see colors, but colors don't actually exist. They're just wavelengths of light that your brain translates into what you call red or blue. You feel time passing, but time doesn't flow the way you think. Einstein proved that time warps and bends depending on where you are. Your brain, however, smooths it out, making it feel like a steady, predictable line. But the most disturbing part, your brain is designed to ignore reality. There's a phenomenon called inattentional blindness. A group of people were shown a video of a basketball game, asked to count how many times the players passed the ball. What they didn't notice was that a person in a gorilla costume walked right through the game, not hidden, not subtle, right through the middle. And yet half of the participants never saw it. Their brains filtered it out because their focus was on something else. Their reality ignored what was right in front of them. Now think about that. If your brain can completely erase a giant gorilla walking through a scene, what else has it erased? What else have you missed? And more importantly, who or what is deciding what you get to see? Because the truth is, reality isn't what you think. It's a carefully constructed illusion, one designed to feel real, while keeping you from noticing what's actually happening. But the cracks are already forming. The question is, are you ready to see through them? You wake up every day, make decisions, form opinions, and navigate life, believing that your mind is your own, that your thoughts emerge from some inner core of self. But have you ever stopped to consider where those thoughts actually come from? Not in some abstract way, but literally. What triggered the thought you just had a moment ago? Was it really your own? Or was it a reaction to something else? Every idea you hold, every belief you defend, every preference you assume is yours. Trace it back far enough, and you'll find a web of influences. You didn't consciously choose your culture, your environment, the books you read, the conversations you overhear, even the background noise of society. All of it seeps into your mind, shaping the way you see the world, without you even realizing it. And that's the strange part. Because your thoughts appear so naturally in your mind, you never question their origin. It's as if they emerge from some hidden space within you. But when you take a closer look, you begin to see something unsettling. Your thoughts might not be as personal as you think. Maybe the decisions you make aren't truly yours, but a conditioned response to things you've absorbed over time. Maybe the things you defend the strongest, your values, your likes and dislikes, even your sense of identity, aren't a reflection of some deep inner truth, but simply the result of repetition. And if that's the case, what does it mean to be you? Have you ever considered how much of your reality is borrowed? Not stolen, not imposed, but subtly absorbed, like water seeping into a sponge. You were born into a world that was already spinning, into systems, traditions, and beliefs that existed long before you took your first breath. You didn't choose them. They were simply handed to you. And yet at some point you started believing they were yours. Think about something as simple as your name. The one thing that feels most personal, most you, wasn't even your choice. It was given to you before you understood words. You spent your life responding to, identifying with it. But if someone had called you by a different name since birth, would you feel like a different person? Now take that idea and then expand it beyond just your name. What about the language you speak, the way you think, the things you value? You didn't invent these things. They were downloaded into you through years of exposure, repetition, and reinforcement. But here's where things get unsettling. If every belief, every fear, every preference you have was planted there, then what part of you is actually yours? Neuroscientists have discovered something fascinating about decision making. When you believe you're making a conscious choice, your brain has already decided for you, milliseconds before you become aware of it. In other words, the thoughts that pop into your mind, the opinions you hold, the actions you take, they don't originate where you think they do. Your brain is constantly processing signals, shaping your reality before you even have a chance to question it. It's like a pre-written script that you mistake for well, you think you're in control, but in many ways you're just following along. And if that's the case, then what part of you is actually you? If your thoughts arise before you even decide to think them, and your identity is built from things you never consciously chose, then who or what is really running the show? Imagine you wake up one day with no memory of who you are, no past, no name, no identity, just pure awareness. You open your eyes and start experiencing the world without the weight of a story. No beliefs, no fears, no expectations. Now ask yourself, would you still be you? This question isn't just some thought experiment. It cuts to the very core of what we think identity is. We assume we are a fixed self, an unchanging core. But reality doesn't work that way. Everything about you is a construct, an assembly of memories, experiences, and conditioning that have built the version of you that exists today. Here's something that might make you pause. The scientists have found that every 7 to 10 years, nearly every cell in your body is replaced. The physical you that existed a decade ago is gone. Every part of you, skin, organs, even brain cells, has been swapped out, piece by piece. So if your body isn't the same, and your thoughts are always changing, then what exactly is the you that remains constant? About the beliefs you hold right now. The 5 years ago, would you have agreed with everything you believe today? Probably not, and 5 years from now you might look back and completely disagree with the person you are today. If your beliefs, thoughts, and even your body aren't permanent, then what part of you actually is? This is where it gets even stranger. There have been cases of people with dissociative identity disorder, what used to be called multiple personality disorder, where one personality has a severe allergy, but another personality does not. Think about that for a second. The same body, but one self breaks out in rashes, while the other experiences nothing. This isn't just psychology. This is proof that the mind isn't just shaping how we think, it's shaping how we experience reality itself. And if that's true, if your reality is fluid, ever-changing, and shaped by the mind, then who is the one observing it all? What if you are not the thinker of thoughts, but simply the awareness that watches them arise? What if you are not your opinion, your past, or even your own name, but something far deeper, something that cannot be changed, named, or defined? Wouldn't that change everything? Let's take this even deeper. There's a concept in neuroscience that might completely change how you see yourself. It's called the predictive mind theory, and it suggests that your brain isn't just passively receiving information from the world, it's creating it right now as you look around. You assume that you're seeing the world as it truly is, but what if I told you that's not what's happening at all? Your brain is predicting reality before you even experience it. It takes past memories, patterns, and expectations and constructs the world before your senses even confirm it. That means what you think is real is actually just your brain's best guess of real reality, based on what it already believes. This explains something shocking: why two people can see the exact same event and experience it completely differently. It's why someone raised in fear will see threats everywhere, while someone raised in love will see kindness in the same situation. It's why a song that meant nothing to you 5 years ago can suddenly move you to tears. Your reality is not objective, it's a personal illusion stitched together by your brain. And the crazy part, you'll never actually see true reality, because the filter of your mind will always shape what you experience. Now, if your mind is shaping your reality before you even experience, then here's a question: who's in control? If every thought, every reaction, every belief you hold is just an echo of the past, shaping how you see the present, are you truly making your own choices, or are you simply acting out a script written by years of experiences, conditioning, and unconscious assumptions? This might sound terrifying, but it's actually freeing. Because if your reality is a construct, then that means you can change it. There's an experiment neuroscientists did where they showed people the color blue and asked them to describe it. But here's the twist: certain cultures don't even have a word for blue. To them it's just a shade of green. And the insane part, they literally cannot see blue. Their brains don't register it. Think about that. Something as simple as a word can decide what's real to you. If your language, your culture, your past, and your emotions are shaping what you perceive, then how much of your life is truly you? The truth is, reality is something your mind constructs, not something you passively receive. And if that's the case, then the way you experience life is not just happening to you, it's being created by you. But who's the you doing the creating? Because if your thoughts are shaping the world before you even perceive it, then what's behind those thoughts? And more importantly, can you wake up from the illusion before it's too late? Let's push even deeper. Because if everything you experience is shaped by your mind before you even realize it, then what does that say about free will? You go through life believing you're making choices, that you're in control of your thoughts, your decisions, your actions. But modern neuroscience suggests something shocking: your decisions are made before you're even aware of them. There was an experiment where scientists hooked people up to brain scanners and asked them to press a button whenever they felt like it. Simple, right? But here's the crazy part: the brain scanner picked up activity before the person consciously made the decision. Their brain had already decided, seconds before they were even aware of it. Let that sink in for a second. Before you even think you're making a choice, your brain has already chosen. That means your conscious mind, the part of you that thinks it's in charge, is really just a narrator, coming up with reasons after the fact to explain why you did what you did. So are you actually in control of your life, or is your mind simply running a program set in motion by years of conditioning habits and unconscious biases? This is where things get even more disturbing, because if you're running on autopilot, then who is really living your life? Most people never question. They go through life, reacting, assuming they're making choices, never realizing they're trapped in a loop, a cycle of conditioned responses, habits, and pre-programmed thoughts. But here's the good news: you can break the loop. You see, the only way out of an illusion is to first see it for what it is. The moment you start observing your thoughts, really watching them instead of just believing them, you start to see the cracks and the illusion. You notice patterns you recognize, loop conditioning creeping in. You catch your mind trying to justify actions it already decided on without your input, and the more you watch, the more you wake up. It's like stepping out of a dream and realizing you were never really asleep. This is why ancient spiritual traditions, from Buddhism to Stoicism, always emphasize awareness, not control awareness, because the moment you become aware of something, it loses its grip on you, and that's the key. Your thoughts will keep coming. Your mind will keep running its programs, but if you can step back and just observe, instead of getting lost in the noise, you take back your power, not by forcing change, not by trying to control your mind, but simply by seeing it for what it is, because once you see the illusion, you can't unsee it, and that's the moment everything changes. Now, here's the real question: can you actually wake up, or will your mind just slip back into the illusion? If you made it this far, you're already ahead of most people, but knowing something and living it are two different things. So if you're ready to see through the illusion, hit subscribe and keep exploring. The truth isn't just out there, it's right here.